In the vastness of the universe of ideas, philosophical questions are like twinkling stars that illuminate the darkness of the unknown. Amidst this intellectual spectacle, C.S. Lewis's 37 phrases emerge as constellations of insight and inquiry, inviting us to explore the deepest mysteries of human existence. These brief yet impactful words serve as portals to a journey of reflection and discovery. What do these phrases reveal about the nature of truth, morality, and life itself? How do they challenge us to rethink our own conceptions and delve into the depths of human thought? In this analysis, we will unravel the power of these C.S. Lewis phrases and explore the universal truths they reveal. 1. Everything changes, nothing ever stays the same. C.S. Lewis's quote addresses a fascinating and often paradoxical aspect of human experience: the nature of time and our perception of change. The first part of the statement, "Everything changes, nothing remains the same," reflects a fundamental truth in many aspects of life and the universe. From the laws of physics, which show that the universe is in a constant state of change and evolution, to transformations in society, technology, and our personal lives, change is a constant. The second part of the quote, "Isn't it funny how day by day nothing changes, but when you look back everything is different," speaks to how we perceive time and change in the short and long term. In day-to-day life, changes may seem insignificant or imperceptible because we are immersed in our routines, and the small daily variations do not seem to significantly alter the course of our lives. 2. There are far, far better things ahead than the ones you leave behind. This phrase by C.S. Lewis is an invitation to optimism and hope, encouraging us to look to the future with a positive perspective. The central idea is that, regardless of the losses or challenges we face, the future holds possibilities and joys that surpass what has been left behind. This thought can be particularly comforting in times of transition or loss, reminding us that closing one chapter in our lives makes room for the beginning of another, potentially more rewarding and enriching one. Lewis, with this statement, also touches on the transitory nature of life and the importance of not clinging excessively to the past or material things. Excessive attachment to what has been can prevent us from fully embracing new opportunities and experiences. The idea that the best is yet to come serves as a reminder to keep our minds and hearts open to the infinite possibilities the future holds. 3. Nothing in life ours to keep. This idea can be interpreted in various ways. In a material sense, it suggests that generosity and the act of sharing with others can enrich our own life experience, providing a sense of satisfaction and purpose that simple accumulation of material goods cannot offer. On a deeper level, it can be argued that only through generosity and altruism can we truly experience the richness of life, as it is in giving that we receive. Furthermore, Lewis may be touching on a broader spiritual or philosophical truth, where true freedom and fulfillment come from transcending selfishness and excessive attachment to worldly things. By opening ourselves to others and connecting to something greater than ourselves, we can find a sense of possession and belonging that is deeper and more enduring. 4. Give up yourself, and you will find your real self. This concept, often explored in spiritual and philosophical contexts, suggests that the true essence of who we are can only be found when we abandon the ego, superficial desires, and pretensions. Lewis is encouraging us to look beyond the layers of identity constructed by society, expectations, and our own ego. By giving up yourself, he refers to the act of setting aside these superficial layers to discover the true self that resides on a deeper level. This implies a process of detachment from material desires, selfish ambitions, and the relentless pursuit of external approval in order to connect with more authentic and enduring values. 5. Don't doubt your value. Don't run from who you are. Lewis suggests that our existence and essence have immense value simply because we are divine creations, regardless of how we compare ourselves to others or the ideals we may hold. This perspective invites us to recognize and value our own uniqueness and the unique contribution we can offer to the world. Furthermore, by stating, "Don't run from who you are," Lewis is encouraging us to confront and embrace our true nature, with all its imperfections and beauties. He suggests that authenticity and self-acceptance are essential for living a full and meaningful life. This acceptance is not just about recognizing our qualities, but also embracing our flaws and limitations, understanding that they are part of what makes us unique. 6. If you find in yourself desires which nothing in this world can satisfy, the only logical explanation is that you were made for another world. Lewis addresses the sensation, often experienced by many, that there is a kind of emptiness or longing within us that worldly joys and satisfactions cannot completely fill. This perception can lead to the conclusion that such insatiable desires point to a reality or existence beyond what is known and experienced in this physical world. The idea that we were made for another world suggests that human existence has a purpose and a meaning that extend beyond everyday life and earthly experiences. This view is rooted in many spiritual and religious traditions, which see life on earth as a journey or preparation for a higher or spiritual reality. 7. You don't have a soul. You are a soul. You have a body. Lewis is challenging the common perception that often prioritizes the physical and material, redefining human identity in a way that places the soul, or the spiritual essence, at the center. By stating that you are a soul, Lewis highlights the primacy and eternal importance of the soul compared to the physical body, which is temporary and transient. This view echoes many religious and philosophical traditions that see the body as a temporary vessel for the soul, which is the true essence of being. The idea that each of you will still be alive after the dissolution of the physical universe speaks to the belief in the continuity of the soul's existence beyond physical death. Lewis suggests that the true essence of who we are transcends the limitations of time and physical space, pointing to a spiritual reality that is eternal and unchanging. 8. Don't shine so others can see you. Shine so that, through you, others can see God. This idea is deeply rooted in the Christian notion of testimony, where an individual's life is seen as a mirror or a beacon that reflects God's light to the world. Instead of seeking personal glory, Lewis suggests that we should aspire to live in such a way that our actions, words, and even our presence allow others to glimpse divinity, goodness, and truth that transcend our individual existence. This perspective shifts the focus from the self to the other, and ultimately to the divine, promoting a way of living that is marked by generosity, service, and authenticity. By shining not for our own enhancement, but to illuminate the path to God, we are called to an existence that values humility and altruism, recognizing that our greatest contribution may be to facilitate others in finding their own connection to the sacred. 9. Hardships often prepare ordinary people for an extraordinary destiny. Lewis suggests that challenges and adversities are not mere meaningless obstacles, but rather instruments of growth and preparation. Difficulties have the potential to transform us, shaping our character and refining our virtues in ways that prosperity and ease simply cannot. This process of growth through adversity is often what prepares us to take on larger roles and responsibilities, leading us to destinies that far surpass our initial circumstances. By mentioning that God allows these experiences of low points, Lewis is touching on the notion that there is a divine order and purpose behind life's events, even those that seem negative at first glance. The lessons learned through adversity are seen as essential to our spiritual and personal development, teaching us perseverance, compassion, humility, and dependence on a force greater than ourselves. The idea that God does not make anyone wait unless it is good for him to wait reflects a view that God's timing is perfect, even if we do not immediately understand it. Patience and waiting are seen not as emptiness or meaningless inactivity, but as an opportunity for internal growth and preparation for what is to come. Thus, Lewis encourages us to face difficulties and periods of waiting not as abandonments, but as integral parts of a larger plan that leads us to an extraordinary destiny. 10. Experience is the most brutal of teachers. By referring to experience as the most brutal of teachers, Lewis is underscoring the often harsh and unforgiving nature of real life as a vehicle for learning. Unlike theoretical or academic learning, experience educates us through successes, and more often through failures, losses, and challenges. These moments can be painful and difficult to endure, but they are also incredibly potent in forging character, resilience, and wisdom. The second part of the phrase, "but you learn, my God, do you learn," emphasizes the effectiveness of this type of learning. Despite its brutality, or perhaps because of it, the lessons learned through experience tend to be deeply internalized. The direct experience of consequences, whether positive or negative, engraves knowledge in a way that passive instruction rarely achieves. 11. Repeated failures are fingerposts on the road to achievement. In describing failures as fingerposts, Lewis suggests that each failure serves as a lesson and a guide, pointing towards adjustments and changes necessary in our approaches, strategies, or even in our understanding. These posts illuminate the way, offering critical insights that help us navigate the path towards our goals. The idea of failing forward is particularly powerful. It implies that each failure, instead of pushing us backward, actually propels us forward, bringing us closer to success. This is because we learn, adapt, and grow through our experiences of failure. This concept encourages a mindset of resilience and persistence, where obstacles are seen as opportunities for development and improvement. 12. You are never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. Lewis challenges the notion that age is a barrier to aspirations, goals, and dreams. He emphasizes the infinite capacity of the human being to reinvent oneself and pursue new directions, regardless of where one stands in their life journey. This idea is an invitation to reject self-imposed limitations and social expectations that often accompany aging. Instead of viewing old age as a time to slow down or give up on new endeavors, Lewis suggests that there is always room for new beginnings and possibilities. This can be particularly inspiring for those who may feel they have missed opportunities or that it is too late to pursue passions or interests that have been set aside. Essentially, Lewis reminds us that the ability to dream and aspire knows no age limits. This message serves as an encouragement to continue seeking growth, fulfillment, and joy in all stages of our lives, embracing the ongoing journey of discovery and renewal. 13. Don't let your happiness depend on something you may lose. This brings forth a profound reflection on the nature of happiness and the importance of grounding it in aspects of life that are enduring and intrinsic, rather than external and transient. This idea encourages us to reconsider the sources of our joy and satisfaction, warning against basing our happiness on elements that are outside of our control and can easily be altered or lost, such as material possessions, social status, or even specific relationships. By highlighting the volatility of many of the things we value, Lewis suggests the pursuit of a more authentic and resilient happiness, one that is not shaken by the inevitable changes and challenges of life. This may involve cultivating internal virtues such as peace of mind, gratitude, self-love, and spirituality, which are less susceptible to external circumstances. 14. This world is a great sculptor's shop. It is a rich metaphor reflecting on the process of personal growth and transformation within the context of human existence. Comparing the world to a sculptor's workshop, Lewis suggests that life experiences, with their challenges and opportunities, act as the tools and techniques used by a sculptor to shape and define their creations. In this analogy, we humans are like unfinished statues, constantly being formed and refined by the hands of the sculptor, a metaphor for life's forces, circumstances, interactions with other people, and possibly a divine influence or destiny. Each experience carves our character, molds our values, and affects our life trajectory, contributing to the ongoing process of becoming who we are meant to be. The rumor that some statues will come to life can be interpreted as an allusion to the idea of reaching a state of awakening or spiritual enlightenment, where one becomes fully aware of their purpose, their essential nature, and their connection to something greater than themselves. This can also be seen as a moment of personal fulfillment, where a person transcends previous limitations and emerges more alive, authentic, and fully realized. 15. We are mirrors whose brightness, if we are bright, is wholly derived from the sun that shines upon us. Comparing ourselves to mirrors suggests that our value and brightness are not inherent, but reflected from a larger external source, in this case, symbolized by the sun. This source can be interpreted in various ways, including love, truth, beauty, or in a spiritual context, the divine. The idea that our brightness is wholly derived from this external source reminds us of our dependence and connection to something beyond ourselves to find meaning, purpose, and light in our lives. The second part of Lewis's reflection about the importance of keeping the self clean and bright to have a clear view of God reinforces the idea that our ability to perceive and reflect truth and beauty is affected by the state of our inner being. Just as the view of the moon can be obscured by a dirty telescope, our perception of the divine or the deeper meaning of life can be clouded by our faults, biases, or spiritual neglect. 16. There are two kinds of people, those who say to God, "Thy will be done," and those to whom God says in the end, "Thy will be done." Lewis delineates a fundamental division between those who choose to submit to divine will and those who insist on following their own path, regardless of divine guidance. By saying, "Thy will be done," an individual expresses a willingness to align with God's purposes and plans, placing God's wisdom and authority above their own preferences and desires. This voluntary submission is seen as an act of faith and trust in God's goodness and sovereignty. On the other hand, when God says, "Thy will be done" to an individual, Lewis suggests that God grants that person the freedom to choose their own path, even if that path leads to separation from God. This is an expression of divine justice and respect for human freedom, allowing the natural consequences of a person's choices to unfold. 17. C.S. Lewis's reflection. I have no duty to be anyone's friend, and no man in the world has a duty to be mine. No claims, no shadow of necessity. Friendship is unnecessary, like philosophy, like art, like the universe itself, for God did not need to create. It has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things which give value to survival, addresses the nature and value of friendship in a deeply contemplative manner. Lewis is highlighting that friendship, unlike basic needs such as food and shelter, is not essential for our physical survival. However, he argues that it is precisely this unnecessariness that elevates friendship, philosophy, art, and the universe to something that transcends mere functionality or utility. Friendship is valued not for its usefulness, but for its ability to enrich the human experience, adding a layer of meaning, joy, and depth to life that goes beyond mere survival. By stating that there is no duty in friendship, Lewis also suggests that true relationships should not be based on obligations or expectations, but rather on a free and mutual choice to share life, thoughts, and moments. This underscores authenticity and voluntariness as essential aspects of meaningful friendships. The comparison with God's creation of the universe serves to illustrate the idea that the intrinsic value of something may lie in its beauty, complexity, and ability to inspire, rather than in its functional necessity. Thus, Lewis leads us to appreciate friendship and, by extension, art, philosophy, and the universe as gifts that enrich our existence, making life not only bearable, but deeply valuable. 18. You will never make a good impression on other people until you stop thinking about what sort of impression you are making. Lewis suggests that conscious effort to shape how we are seen often has the opposite effect, leading to a perception of inauthenticity or excessive effort. This reflection encourages us to adopt a more genuine and less calculated approach in social interactions. When concern about the impression we are making is replaced by authenticity and being present in the moment, we are more likely to truly connect with others. This is because authenticity promotes an openness and vulnerability that are essential for meaningful human relationships. Additionally, excessive concern about image can distract us from listening and engaging meaningfully with others, as we are more focused on how we are being perceived than on the interaction itself. By releasing the need to control others' perception, we make space to be ourselves, which is often more attractive and impressive than any carefully constructed persona. 19. To love at all is to be vulnerable. Lewis highlights that the act of loving inherently involves the risk of pain and loss because opening the heart to others, whether to people, animals, or even passions, exposes us to the possibility of being hurt. However, he argues that the only way to completely avoid this pain, by isolating oneself and protecting the heart from any emotional involvement,